Good. Well, hello. Good evening. Tuesday evening. Welcome to the Chameleon Open Question and Answer session. And if you're watching the replay, just know that this happens live every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific, and you can join if you'd like. So today we have it's just open a format here for questions, and so we don't have a specific format. You just put down your questions, and we talk about chameleons. So let's see. We've got James 3. Oh, James 3. I got to tell you about the we have on YouTube. We have videos every Friday morning, 5 p.m. Pacific. James 3. This video is for you. It's your chameleons. Where are they now? So I'm going to go over the chameleons that you've seen in the YouTube videos over the past 7 years and say, where are they now? And James Clancy is number one on the list for the Where Are You Now list. So you get to see Clancy. So, Eliza Ann is here. All right. And just so everybody knows, this is being shown on both Instagram and YouTube. On YouTube, it is the channel Chameleon Academy Live. It's a separate channel. It's a separate channel from the main channel. Alicia's dropping in briefly. Okay. Good to see you. All right, everybody. That's your squishy photo. And if you are on YouTube, you get to see the photos. I'm sorry, Instagram people. Instagram app will crash if I try to share photos. So Instagram's kind of, if you want to jump over to Chameleon Academy live on YouTube, go ahead, do that, and you can see the picture. So, by the way, so yeah, Squishy's in there. Anybody can anybody see Squishy? He can see you. So, James says it's Clancy time now. It will be. It will be on Friday. You're going to be seeing Clancy. He is there. So, hey, Nick. Hello, Nick. Good to see you. So, all right, everybody. Going back in time, who here knows what Ranger Rick is from 1984? When I was a kid, this was the magazine of, this was the absolute best magazine because it had reptile pictures, animal pictures all over. And you got it, I don't know, I guess every month. And so my mother found a bunch of the old ones and decided to pick out the ones that had chameleons in it. So here is your helmeted chameleon in the 1984 Ranger Rick. Pretty cool. Anybody else here? Oh, Janet remembers Ranger Rick. My animal education in a nutshell. Yeah, Ranger Rick was awesome. There's Jackson's chameleon, Xantholophus, of course. Hello, Matthew King. This one's in the 1982 version. Squishy, our neighbors showing any colors yet? Don't remember their exact age. We don't know their exact age. We do not know. There's I got these as a wide range of sizes, and there's no all we know is the mother that they came from. But as for color, yes, some of them are starting to show color, and we're getting some nice appears to be some blues out of there, so I'm excited about that. I'll be showing you guys as soon as I should be taking some pictures of these guys and showing them here. Let's see, DC is saying, hi, Bill, new chameleon owner here. I've been loving watching the archived live Q&As. Been learning a lot from you. Thank you very much for doing it. And I think you commented. Yes, all of you on Instagram, if you are actually watching this replay, put it in the comments and let me know, because I'm just sending this out there and I have no idea if people are actually watching it. But then some people have commented and said, yes, I am watching it. And the reason why it's significant on Instagram is because YouTube is used to these long videos. On Instagram, people are into those shorts. And so putting on an hour-long live session is, yeah, well, that's not what's normally advised in the creator circles. So I'm coloring outside the lines here. So if you like how I color outside the lines, put a comment, put a comment, and let me know that there are people who enjoy this. And whew. Let's see. And that's saying if a female was kept under subpar conditions while being gravid, anything you can do to boost the hatchling's health? Yes. It all depends. I mean, as long as the hatchlings were born healthy, you should be able to give them a boost. Just give them good food, and they should eat. Yes, they can. They have a strike against them, but it's not as big of a strike as it would be in the wild, where they need everything possible because they got to hit the ground running to survive immediately. In captivity, it's not as important. So the runts are able to do great in captivity. Just keep them separate, keep them well fed, well hydrated, and give them the right amount of heat, UVB, and all that wonderful stuff, all the husbandry stuff, and they should bounce back. Obviously, we don't know how many nutrients they got and if there was some malnutrition, malformation, and all that kind of wonderful stuff. But the answer is, it is worth giving them husbandry, and you definitely have a reasonable expectation that they will grow up to be healthy adults. Yeah. Roman the Uplands. Oh, yes. Hello, Roman. Keep coloring, please. Yes. Thank you. And thank you for your email. See, James says, I remember him clearly, but my favorite show is Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom with Marlon Perkins, Jim Fowler. And I don't remember those other ones, but I know Marlon Perkins and Jim Fowler. I remember them. And color outside the lines, Bill. Yes, yes. And I know most of you will encourage me to do that because you wouldn't be here if you didn't like coloring outside the lines. It's kind of like what I do. Nick says, my middle school library gave a bunch away when they remodeled. Ranger Ricks. Remember, I had 15 to 20 different reptile magazines, one of which had an article about carpet chameleons. Yeah, that's when it all started. Excellent. Hey, Renee's here. Hi, Geraldine. Oh, wonderful. And Tony has showed up. Tony and Geraldine will be joining me in Madagascar next January. And Geraldine and Tony, we are. I'm going to be posting. Going to be starting the monthly posts of getting ready for Madagascar, and we're going to start by passports, making sure your passport is in order and ready to go. And we don't want any surprises. So, and there can be surprises. They want stuff like make sure that you have 6 months left on your passport. So if your passport is expiring within 6 months of leaving the country, they may have a problem. You have to have, I forget, a certain number of pages left in your passport. And by the way, the pages in back are not stampable pages. And so I'll be doing pictures and all of this kind of stuff. So yeah, it is. Somebody said, why are you starting so soon to get ready for Madagascar? That's happening in January. Believe me, now's the time to start. So we're gonna start doing that soon. Probably this weekend. We're gonna start looking at passports and flights. Oh yeah, you got to do flights. Anybody who goes to Madagascar, there is a strategy behind getting flights. Don't go through Nairobi. Do not go through Air Kenya. Just don't do it. But anyway, I'm going to be sending out the strategy to use to get to Antananarivo. Janet says, I will forever be 33. Oh yeah, I'm there with you on that one. Ooh, renewed my passport last year. Oh, perfect. Perfect. You're going to be set. How bad is 115 degrees Fahrenheit at the direct center of the basking zone? He was reading 83 in his body in the shade. The shade was under the fake leaves. 115 is a death trap. Now, you say, but wait a minute, he's not dead. This is the challenge of giving a basking spot. It's how do you measure, with what temperature, with what device do you measure, and you sit the little probe sit there and just bake under it, and then the temperature keeps going up and up. So I actually prefer to measure temperature with the back of your hand. I mean, I specifically work on how can I communicate with people and through the medium of a data sheet. And the problem is when you give a number, usually on most of these things, we want to come up with a number because that's a common thing that we all measure. But that works unless the measurement system that everybody uses is variable. And that's the case with temperature. And so I actually like to tell people, use the back of your hand. If it's comfortable after sitting there in a minute, you want a gentle heat. If it gets crispy, then it's too hot. And people say, oh, well, what temperature is that? Once again, me giving a number is dangerous because nobody measured it the same way. Me telling you how to measure it the exact way, I could do that, but it's just so much more effective to use the back of the hand. And I know that's very subjective. People have had problems. That's so subjective. You're right. It is, but it works. It works the best so far. And I'm always looking for better ways of explaining things. So I'm not stuck on any one method. I just need it to be effective in communicating. Rowan saying, are you using guides or something to find chameleons in Madagascar, or is all on your own as a group? Oh, Roman. Oh, no. We are not on our own. I am going with Patrick Andrei Haja. I can't pronounce this. I need to learn his name. Call him Patrick. He is a tour guide there. He's a registered a tour guide. You actually become certified in Madagascar to be an official tour guide. He is an official tour guide. He's got all the buses. He's got everything. He's got the hotels. He got everything together. No, when I say I'm going with the group, I'm gathering the group and we're all going, but it's going to be under his tour company. He's a professional. He knows what he's doing. He has people that come with him that are spotters, and they go find chameleons. And so we are well supervised over there from a native who knows what to do in Madagascar. Believe I am not going to be leading a group by myself. No. I will be there to smile, but I am there much like all of you would be. And so, by the way, I have two more spots left. So if anybody is interested in going to Madagascar in January 2026, let me know. I have a 2-week itinerary specifically made for us poor Americans that get only 2 weeks of vacation a year. James is saying Air Kenya is a flipping nightmare. Ain't that the truth? They have messed up every flight. There have been 3 people who have used Air Kenya over the last 2 years. Every one of them, their flights have been messed up in some way, including my own. Yeah. Just working on my passport renewal. Mine actually expires soon. Excellent, Tony. This is a perfect reason to have new passports are so good when you go out. All right. We have a misting question from DC. I know you're supposed to mist first thing in the morning before the lights come on, but my 3-month chameleon hates to be misted in the early morning. He prefers to warm up first. That's strange because usually when they warm up, that's when they don't want to be misted. So there's something going on there that's a little bit different than the norm. Generally speaking, so what I would ask is they hate to be misted in the early morning. Why is that? Are they awake when they're misted? Because if you mist before the lights come on, then they should be sleeping and they should wake up and the world is filled with dew. So either they're already awake, and so that's a little bit later than recommend to misting them. Also, is the mist hitting them too hard? So how hard is the mist hitting him? So those are two questions I would ask. Is it okay to let him bask for a couple of hours, then mist? Okay. I give advice that is applicable to the most chameleons possible in the most general conditions that are applicable across the world. I give basic advice. The proper use of that advice is to use that to set up your chameleon cage. And then after that, after you get it set up, then you listen to your chameleon. Your chameleon is the expert because your chameleon is the one that's living in those conditions. And everybody here has unique conditions that they set this thing up in. And so my job up here is to give you the conditions that are most likely to give you success. But once you set it up, that's when you got to listen to the true expert, and that's your little chameleon. And so listen to what they tell you and adjust for what they tell you. So is it okay to let them bask for a couple of hours, then mist? I don't understand that situation. The answer is, yeah, that's fine if that's the way he likes it. You just got to make sure that you are reading the behaviors correctly. That is, and there's something about that situation that is different than the norm. So just make sure that is just his particular quirk of personality, and not your reading it incorrectly. So that's the only thing we've got to do. It's a challenge. We've got to make sure we are reading the situation correctly because they don't tell it clearly, and it's so easy for us to misinterpret. So when I say it's different than the norm, that's not implying that you're reading it wrong. I'm just giving you some information, and you're the one there. You're the one seeing the situation, and so you're the one best able to make that judgment. Aaron, hello. Oh, you're hand misting. Okay, yeah. Okay, so he is probably reacting to you in that way, so you've got to take that into consideration. But if you get up before the lights come on, before he wakes up, then you should be able to lay down a layer of dew in the cage, and he'll wake up to dew, and he won't be scared of the mister. And you don't have to mist him. You just mist the area around him. Okay. See, Angela says, any know about the Arcadia A Pro? Probably talking about the Earth Pro A. Took my chameleon to vet, says she didn't have enough calcium. Earth Pro A has a lot of calcium. So if you are giving Earth Pro A, that should not be a problem as far as the chameleon getting calcium. Now, it could be that the chameleon is not getting enough vitamin D3, which allows the body to absorb calcium. And so a lot of these things are tied together. That may be what's going on here. And Wayne Abides is saying, the IR thermometer multiple spots for 4 to 3 seconds. I've thought about using my hand for a minute or two, but wasn't sure if that'd work. It's a tricky thing because the thing about using your hand is it's subjective, and it requires the judgment of people who don't have the experience. So yeah, it is a risky thing to do, but I've actually found that it's a lot easier to tell people to use the back of their hand than it is to actually use a number. That's just my own personal experience in communicating. So, you know, you know, in 5 years, I may be saying something different. Oh, Nick, gonna throw a wrench in everything, aren't you? I found that the less you try to be perfect, the easier and more enjoyable reptile keeping has been. Oh. Watch and observe your reptiles. They will tell you and show you what they prefer. Like I said, don't take this the wrong way. Experience is the best teacher, in my opinion. Yeah, and we in the chameleon community have I think we've got we're going in the right direction, because we are now going away from what inputs do we give to this lizard in this cage we've wrapped around it, and we're saying, okay, we're going to build a large environment instead of fixating on the actual measurements within certain points in the cage. We just create gradients and microclimates, and the chameleon decides where they want to be. It does take a bit of effort. It takes a bit of skill to do it right, and judgment. But this is an inexact science, and it's still mixed with art. And so that's where we are, for better or for worse. What supplement do you prefer for hatchlings? I like to just give plain calcium I start about 2 weeks. And how do you transition to, Aaron, I would suggest that you get that book, Tiny Dragons, because it goes over all of this. And so you'll have that in your, right at your fingertips. I don't know if you've ordered, of course, I just got them, and so we're going to have a book signing on Saturday, and they'll all go out on Monday. So, if you've ordered one, yeah, it's going to be a little bit of time till next week, and then they'll go out. So, okay. Uh-oh. We have a problem. One Piece has a new live action series coming soon. They challenge our true pirate king. Ooh, yeah, and things got a little bit complicated here, Mikey, because I just had to take all of the live sessions, and I had to put them unlisted. And so even though I have almost 250 to 300 episodes there to my name, I had to unlist them because they were really messing up the channel. So if someone looks at the numbers now, they will think that I'm behind One Piece. And so we have to know the truth. And I'm going to have to figure out how to navigate that, because, even though I say I deserve the title of the Pirate King of Chameleons, you know what? You got to prove it. You can't just say it. You got to prove it. And so I got to figure out how I'm going to do that. But a new live action series. Wow. All right. Understand. And how do you transition them to crickets? Aaron, you just get crickets that are small enough and offer the cricket. You can get them anywhere from pinhead to 1 week. And so as soon as you can buy crickets, you just transition them over. And you do that by start with having crickets that are smaller than they can eat, just so they're not intimidated by the cricket. And then as they get their confidence up, you increase the size of the crickets. Bill, I have a question about parsoni. Do they tolerate the same temperatures as pardalis? I understand that's the case, except for incubation and hibernation. They do not like the same temperatures as pardalis. Pardalis will take higher temperatures. Both pardalis and parsoni will like temperatures in the mid 70s, but the Pardalis will bask in the sunlight a lot more than the Parsons will. So the general, if you took Parsons care husbandry and you added a heat lamp to it, then your panther would be happy. If you took Pardalis husbandry and you removed the heat lamp, depending upon the temperatures, obviously, then you'd have Parsons care. So there's a significant overlap, but there are some important differences. The Parsons will like to be in the leaves a whole lot more than the Panthers. So subtle differences. My chameleon is very afraid of me. Runs from me when I open the cage to clean. Yeah, well, your chameleon is young, I believe. So give them time to grow up. Right now, when they're babies, they are scared of everything because everything can eat them. That's just dialed in. When they start getting into subadulthood, they start getting confidence, and so you'll see personality changes coming up as they grow up. But right now, I need to handle this guy if he wants to spend time in his outdoor enclosure I'm building from. You don't have to handle them. You just have to hold them and move them. But you can do that on a branch or suck. So as he'll change as he grows, and he'll get used to you eventually. And it takes time. I know it. I can't. What can I say? It takes time. I've got some chameleons that I'm sitting there trying to do something in their cage and they walk out on my arm. And I got some chameleons that I've had I was just filming Clancy, my veiled chameleon, and he's 4 years old, 4 or 5 years old, something like that. And, he still doesn't like me. I tell you, what can we do? And like this, Nick says, no one take this the wrong way. Oh, boy. I like that. Mm-hmm. Marsha got a new Machaco's Hills Jackson's chameleon. I think Cabo has figured out that I am the bearer of food. He crawls towards me now. Yes. Some chameleons, when they figure out, see, these chameleons, they all have to figure out what human beings are. Every chameleon has got to figure this out, and they choose different things. Some chameleons choose, I'm scared of this big thing that could eat me. And some chameleons say, I'm scared of this big thing that could eat me. Oh my gosh, is that food? All right. I'm good. And I mean, I have both of those. Clancy, I just talked to you about. He is, I don't like you. Hiss, hiss, hiss. His father is, all right, you big ugly thing. You're bringing me good stuff to eat. You're good in my book. So it's like, even genetically, they're different. Yeah. And Nate's just driving around the beach listening. Excellent. Glad to have you here, Nate. Let's see. James 3. Do you ever notice your chameleon shedding in different patterns? Last time Reggie shed, it started at his head and ended at his tail. Time before, it seemed to shed off all the same. Yes, absolutely. Every time it's different. It all depends on, I don't even know all the things that it depends upon as to why the sheds go off the way they do. But yeah, they're all different. All different. Oh, gosh. James, I'm sorry. There's a little bit of interference. I can't read your comment. I'm sorry, James. I'll have to get back to you on this one. Yes. Okay. Parsons Care Flight. It actually is on the calendar. It is on the content calendar. I've been working very hard on the content calendar, and I have goals for the entire season. So, and Parsons Care Guide is on there. Mike, can't wait for my book. Oh, Mike, Very good to see you. And oh, that's right. You're going to be down, and I'm going to be. I actually just received them today, so woohoo, I can. For those of you who don't need me to be, don't care if I'm signing it during the work party, I can start sending things out. Flick from Ireland. I'm going to say it's from Ireland all the time because I love that you're from Ireland and that you're here. So, any thoughts on the new Phonolux True Chroma lights? I have not run into those yet, so I cannot give thoughts, but it sounds impressive. And I love that it's True Chroma. They're using the right words. But I haven't done anything. I haven't seen them yet. Boy, all these conversations going on. What the heck? Speaking of lights, how the new Exoterra, I'm liking them. They don't seem to be as powerful as the Arcadia or the Repta Suns, and so they don't seem to be, at least at this point, they don't seem to be. And we're talking about Exoterra UVBs. They don't seem to be a 1-to-1. I thought they would be all made from the same factory, but this may not be. So I'm doing an official analysis of them, and since they aren't obviously, at least obviously, from the same factory, that means I have to do a full analysis on them. So that's a whole lot more work, but I'm starting to set up to do that. So, all right, Ray. Hello, I commonly hear that when a chameleon reaches adulthood, they should shift to an every other day feeding schedule to avoid becoming overweight. How do you know when they are in adulthood? Oh, well, you look at their ID. Ray, there is no way to definitively say, okay, they are in adulthood. So what Ray is talking about is, with chameleons, we want them as babies, we want them to grow as fast as possible. I mean, they don't have to grow as fast as possible. That's their job, is to grow as fast as possible. So we just pile in the food, the ad libitum. Food is everywhere, not crawling everywhere, but always available. So they can just eat. But we have a problem that when they become adults, they can get overweight. And that makes sense because they are programmed to eat, because in the wild, they are burning calories. They are getting away from predators. They don't know when they're going to eat again. So it works for survival to eat in the wild. In captivity, that's not a good thing, because there's always food available. There's always more food available than they need, and it's going to be available day after day after day after day. And they're not burning as many calories sitting in a cage looking pretty. So we have to say, all right, we understand that is in your instincts, is to eat. We're going to have to pull back. And so what we do is we pull back to a three appropriately sized feeders, 3 to 5 every other day. And so we say when they become adults, you pull back on feeding. And so that the obvious question is, which begs the question is, when do we know when a chameleon is an adult? And there is no demarcation between young adult and adult. It is when you notice that they are, when they are growing, everything should kind of grow together, and so they become bigger. When they stop growing altogether and they start growing out to the side, and they're not growing length and height and all this kind of stuff, that's when you know, okay, they're done with their major growing. We need to pull back on the feeding. Also, panther chameleons and veiled chameleons, their casque will start to bulge when they have too much, and so you want to. It's just a judgment call when you say, okay, it just doesn't feel like they are growing all together, all over. They're just growing out, and so I got to stop. So the important thing is, Ray, it's not critical to know the exact moment. It's just when you're saying, okay, I just get a feeling that they're not growing as fast, then you can slowly pull back. So don't stress about it, but just keep your eye open for the time where you're saying, okay, yeah, it's time. James 3 says, I'm afraid if you put together a Parsons Care Guide, I'm going to end up getting one. Oh, well, let me tell you what kind of motivation that gives me now. You'll have a care guide tomorrow. If you give me the opportunity to be an accomplice to those kinds of life changes. So let's see. Hey! Wow. How fast do wild chameleon babies grow? Has it been compared to captivity? Nate, I don't know. I don't know that anybody has been able to measure growth in the wild. That's I don't even know how they would do that, unless, I mean, I guess they could try to do that, but the answer is I don't know of any. I don't know how they could. I do know that the genetics that we have, like in our panther chameleons, if you go into our panther chameleons, we have like 10, 11, 12, 13th generation panther chameleon genetics in captivity. And those genetics have been bred for size and compatibility with captivity, not intentionally, but unintentionally, because of course the ones that do best in captivity are the ones that are going to breed the most, and we want the healthiest ones, so we get the biggest breeders and stuff. So we're not the chameleon community isn't trying to get a certain size or something like that. It just happens that over 10, 13 generations of captive genetics, that the babies from a captive, and this is purely my observation, there is no scientific paper, other people may disagree, but it appears to me that the captive genetics grow a lot quicker than the wild caught babies. Now, we have a number of breeders right now that are using both those captive genetics and wild caught genetics. And I am going to specifically be talking to them and asking them this question, because that'll be some very important data points for me to incorporate into my thinking. And so this is my thinking right now. I am going to talk to people and see if I can get even more information and have a better answer for you all. That's what I do. All right. Annette says, can't really hide a parson, so hard for me to smuggle one into the house. Annette, you start by getting a large cage and you have only plants in it. And then let the people in your house get used to you having a terrarium with plants in it. And until they just don't pay attention anymore, then you find a baby. And then you slip a baby in there. And before long, somebody years later will say, wait a minute, that plant's moving. There's some shenanigans going on here. And by that time, it's too late. So it's a playing with time. That's the important thing. Yeah. Yeah, poor Nate's limited to 2 large enclosures in his house, so incapable of parsons at this. Okay, we'll work on it. And Eliza Ann is there to help you make bad decisions. That's what friends are for. It just warms my heart seeing this. Oh, I will come up with the care guide, and Eliza Ann will be your excuse. See, teamwork. So I'm going to start looking for a Parsons size spot in my house. Yeah. Everybody needs a Parsons Chameleon. I've decided that, and so that's going to be something that we all have to aspire to. So, and if you can't have a Parsons Chameleon, well, I'm working on the Shaughnessy, and so they're like mini Parsons. So that'll work. There we go. Teamwork. Love it. All right, I've done a heck of a lot of talking here. Are there any chameleon questions out in the world? So, gotta put on the. So I am gearing up. I'm going to be making a bunch of bioactive stuff, and I got my terra firma. That's my bioactive. So I'm going to be doing a number of bioactive projects right now, and of course you're going to be seeing them in the videos. Artie's Chameleons has a question. Put that question down there, and we will deal with that question. We will deal with that question with we'll be nice. I said without mercy, but you know what? We're all nice here. We're going to take care of it. We'll take care of your question. Put your question down. Well, James 3 has a question. Who wouldn't want the Godzilla of chameleons in your house? You know, sometimes muggles, they just don't know what they need. It's a healthy thing. How big are the Parsons hatchlings compared to Panthers? They're a little bit bigger, but not terribly bigger. So yeah, I mean, they're a little bit bigger, but everybody's got to start in that egg. Now, Parsons chameleons grow a lot slower than Panthers do. They'll take about 2-3 years to get up to sexual maturity, and Panthers will race to 6 to 9 months, maybe a year, depending. So, and let's see. My lateralis, Mikey Ben is saying, my lateralis is 6 months old and is starting to get his green colors. He's a late bloomer. Is he a late bloomer for color? I actually don't know the time of carpet chameleons. I raised a clutch of carpet chameleons, but I got them as babies, and so I didn't hatch them myself. And they all started kind of greeny. Mine were green and brown, and at 6 months old. But that sounds like, I don't know, that does sound like a late bloomer. But I have limited experience with carpet chameleons, and it's very old. So I am sure. Hey, wait, Nick's here. Nick's. Is Nick still on? Nick would know the answer to this question. We need to get the expert on. Nick, if you're still on, this is Mikey Ben's question about carpet chameleons. So Nikki Tipton says, in Yemen's, is there a weight guide you can follow to make sure your chameleon is on track? Nikki, there is not. There is I specifically don't give weights because there is no guide. People can give a guide as to what they experienced or what theirs did, but that doesn't mean, if yours does not follow their experience, it doesn't mean that yours is not healthy. See, the problem with the weight guides is when people see that, then they compare their experience to it, and their chameleon may be totally fine and totally healthy. I would say just as long as your chameleon is eating, is pooping, and is active and alert, you're doing good. Just keep feeding and feeding, especially a veiled chameleon. The first 4 to 6 months, they should just keep eating and eating and eating, and your concern should not be on their weight, just on how much are they eating or not eating, and how much are they pooping or not pooping. That's really it. And as long as they are healthy, you're good to go. Don't worry about the weights. I have seen a wide range of weights, and sometimes the chameleons will have a growth spurt and leave the others behind, and then the others catch up, and it's all over the place. So I know the reason why you're asking about uh, a weight guide is because you just want to know that you're doing it correctly and that things are going well. Uh, and I would just say there isn't a good set of numbers that would be helpful to you, because if you're not following those numbers, that doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. So I would, yeah, that's what I got to say. As long as they're eating and pooping and they are active and alert, you're good, and just keep going. Oh boy. Okay. What is the lifespan of the Parsons? At least 20 years. We don't, I don't think we know the lifespan of the Parsons, but we know it's at least 20 years. Yeah. All right. DC says, I've heard it's best to feed chameleons in the morning so they can have more time to digest. Is this true? What about for growing juvenile chameleons? Eating all day long is okay. I haven't heard that. It sounds like something somebody would come up with. I don't know the context in which that was said. I will say right now, I don't see logic in that, because a chameleon that eats in the evening, which is a prime time for them to eat, because chameleons kind of hide during generally speaking, they hide during the afternoon. They come out in the mornings and in the evenings and they eat. So evolutionarily, for them to be disadvantaged by eating in the evening just doesn't make sense. And I've never, I don't know how you would measure that. So I would say, since over these decades that we have been raising chameleons, and it's not generally known that night eating is I'm trying to be diplomatic in saying I don't think that holds water. I'd have to hear more from the person who came up with this to evaluate what they are saying. I'm sure what they are getting at is, if you have a cold night, things slow down at night, and so the chameleon isn't, all the functions are not working like they would be in the morning. So that's probably the logic behind that. But the question is that, even though that is logical, in actual reality, does it make a difference? See, we do a lot of thinking in the chameleon world about these things because there's no way to measure it. And that's a good thing. We need to keep thinking about this. But when we come up with a genius idea, it may actually be true, but the question is, how true is it, and how much does it affect the end result? And so I would suggest that I do not know of any evidence that eating in the evening affects the end result. I guess I'll put it that way. Would you be interested in keeping Myrmentonus again? Oh, yeah. There's so many that I would like to be keeping. I am going through a personal focus exercise to where I'm focusing in on the shamrock chameleon. And so, yeah, I would have a lot of trouble if Tanzania opened. Let's just say that. Myrmentonus is from Tanzania, and Tiny Tree Dragons is asking if I would like Myrmentonus. That's the the smallest subspecies of Jackson's chameleon. And if Tanzania opened, I would be in so much trouble. Kinyongia mochii, Dryoceros deramensis. Ugh, there's so much in Tanzania. So yeah, that would be trouble. What's your favorite locale in panthers? Oh, good question. I don't know. I love the Ankarami, the pink, but the Nosibe blue has always been my favorite. Ambanja and blue. It's really, I'm going to have to think about that one. Yeah. Is 8 foot tall by 4 foot wide by 2 foot deep at good enclosure size? Yeah, I would say that's good. You could do that. If you are able to, if this is a custom cage, which it sounds like it is, go 3 feet deep if you can. You know, I don't know what kind of where you're trying to fit it, but 3, 4, you able to make it a walk-in. Having a Parsons chameleon walk-in enclosure is so cool. I'll just say that. But those dimensions would work. All right. I've heard Nipton say that IIRC. I don't know. No. Okay, but what's that acronym? Morning bask helps them digest. Well, I mean, the heat gets them going. The question is, if you feed at night, is that a problem? It's not a problem. All right, let's see. Is young 2 to 3 month old veiled with clear signs of MBD? Little word, legs not working as intended. Too late to fix reverse. It's never too late to stop MBD, and it could, depending upon how bad it is, it could be. I don't know that we can ever fix it, but if he's that young, then there's a chance. There's a chance that he could grow up and still be totally functional. So it just all depends on how bad it is. But definitely, it's definitely worth every effort because he's got a long life ahead of him. And yeah, do what it takes. Yeah, it's worth it. Europe is open, and I found a guy who's breeding them. Might need to do an import from Miramontanus. Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. That's trouble. If I remember correctly. Thank you very much, Nate. Appreciate that. When did you hatch your first clutch? My first babies were in 1980 for Jacksons. They were Jacksons. My first clutch and I stayed away from eggs for a while because I was nervous about eggs. So I stuck with Jackson's chameleons. But I did my first eggs in the mid 90s. Which were the first eggs? It was probably panther chameleons. So it's probably panther chameleons. Yeah. And deramensis, I really worked with deramensis. Love deramensis so much. And I hatched those out. So panthers and deramensis. What else did I work with? Those were eggs. I did a lot with Jackson's, Rudis, Miramontanus. Had babies of those. But anyway, that's that. Are there any interesting differences you notice between wild-caught and captive-bred chameleons? Shape, temperament, behavior? They're not as, the babies are, even if the adults are just panicking at the sight of a human being, the babies, whatever. So there's a huge difference. Behavior, texture of skin. There's a difference, which means we got a lot to figure out as far as supplementation, but there's a texture to the scales. We still have a lot of work to go. What's open in Europe? Well, I'm not. I am sure things have always been open in Europe to ship things out that are captive bred, captive hatched, and have a paper trail. And I know that there is Maramontanus being bred over in Europe. I know Jurgen has been involved with that and such. And so it is just a matter of time before they're available for export. And so if people here were very dedicated and wanted to pay what it would take to get captive born and imported from Europe, then that opportunity will be available. It sounds like there's some availability. So the scale difference is super interesting. Yes. And it's something, there's also differences in breeding. It seems like after a couple of generations in captivity, some species just don't want to breed anymore. That's the problem that we had with Furcifer minor. And I know there's others that, like second generation, it's just like they're either not getting there's something wrong and something we're not doing right. Then there is species like veileds and panthers that just don't care, and they can go to 13 captive generations. So that is there is the difference. So all right, everybody. By the way, for those who don't know, the latest podcast is out. It's about having a pet chameleon. And go and take a look on YouTube and take a listen and let me know what you think. I'm really gearing these podcasts to be, I'd like them to be interactive. So I'd like to know what you think. I obviously I'm sitting here and I produce something that people listen to, but I really like the idea of having a community, which means that there's a lot of interaction. And so there's an exchange of ideas. Email me. Let me know what you think about these things. That's one reason why the Chameleon Academy outreach is celebrating its 10th anniversary here. And that's because it's a dynamic outreach, and it's an outreach where I grow and everybody grows with me. We all grow together, and it's a dynamic move forward. So be part of that. Be part of that. Hey, I am weird. It's Lisa. Yes, I did get a chance to listen to what one. Wonderful. I'm glad you enjoyed it. So on Friday morning, I intend to have that video ready at 5 a.m. Pacific that you can be there. I'll probably end up be loading it Thursday night because I'm cutting it to the wire on this one. But so I'll see you then. And then, of course, we'll have our Saturday. This Saturday is going to be the book signing. So there's going to be giveaways. Nick Unz is going to be giving away a carpet chameleon. And my wife, Yvette of Misty Mountain Fans, is going to be giving away a Europlatus Fantastica satanic leaf-tailed gecko. So there's going to be a lot going on. And Saturday, 12 noon Pacific. Ray's coming in with the last question. Do chameleons ever feel full? Like, do they ever stop eating even if there's still available food? Yes, most chameleons do. Veiled chameleons don't seem to do that very well. They were absent that day when they taught you're full in school. They just didn't show up. So that's why veiled chameleons have such a problem with obesity, and to the point where it's life-threatening, especially for the females, because when they're overfed, they'll overproduce eggs, and that is a huge it takes away life. And like and you'll see in the video there, I've got a panther chameleon that's 6 years old, a female panther chameleon, 6 years old. never been bred. So usually people say, oh, they live about 3 years, and that's if they're bred, because producing eggs is such a stress on the female's body, and so it just really cuts down their life expectancy. But if you have a female and you don't breed her, and you keep her not in a healthy weight, then, and she's not producing infertile clutches of eggs, then they just live a long time, just like the males do. So, this is most chameleons will stop eating. Not the old chameleons, though. Bill, you could come on here and talk for about an hour about anything, everything. I have been known to just talk. I have been known to be able to do that. Which species from Europe I missed? Alex, we were talking about Jack's Miramontanus, Mount Meru, Jackson's chameleon, the little guy, little subspecies. So, do you have any signed books left? Tony, I do not. I have every one of them spoken for, but if you needed one and you are willing to wait, I did just order some for my own use, and so I could, if anybody needs a signed book, you can email me, and we can work something out. I need to be careful I don't, and I don't know, if I have enough of demand, I'll just order another 50 books. But just email me and we will work something out. A friend of mine had a 7-year-old not bred female panther. Yeah, that sounds very reasonable. I mean, mine is 6 years old and she's going strong. It's got no sign of slowing down. I don't think 7 years is easy. So, and I love this kind of information because we all need to know that, I mean, the female panthers are such great pets. They are attractive, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful pet. I am sad that they are looked at so much as just a vessel for breeding. They make great pets. I actually have more female panther chameleons than male right now. Yeah. Oh, last very stupid question. Excellent. Very stupid questions are fun to answer. Does this mean a female panther might never lay eggs if not exposed to male? Yeah. My 6-year-old has never laid eggs. The thing is, as long as you keep them not overfed, because the body sometimes does weird things, and you don't have a male around them. I've had females that when they're next to a male, they start a cycle and they give infertile eggs. Now, I don't know how common that is. I just know I've experienced it. So, yeah, keep them away from a male and feed them sparingly. And they won't lay eggs. Now, I know some people, they do get infertile clutches from panthers. Everyone has different experiences because these are all individual animals. Bill, can you tell the difference from locale in female panthers? No, you can't. That's why there's such a big problem as far as keeping locales straight. You can't. You just can't. And that's the reason why I'm growing these out, is to see what the female actually is, what the mother actually is. Do you have nursery cages, AVA? Dark morphs, email me and we can talk. There's a situation that may be interesting to you if you are interested in nursery cages. There's some options. So email me at bill@chameleonacademy.com and we shall discuss life. Lisa says, do you think males benefit from breeding? The whole you don't use it, you lose it idea. Yeah, what do we mean by benefit? There come times where the males get anxious and antsy, and so they're looking for, they'll run around their cage and there's no cage big enough, especially if they see that there's a female somewhere in the room. I had a Jackson's chameleon that just saw a female on the other side of the yard, and he had a huge 4 foot by 4 foot by 7 foot tall heavily planted enclosure. Paradise. Oh, it was not big enough for him because he wanted that female at the other end. So for a couple of weeks, they go crazy. And I imagine allowing them to mate would be evolutionarily DNA satisfying. But I do not believe that they need that. And after a couple of weeks, they're back to, oh, okay. Now I'm just going to go back to eating and hanging out. And I don't know of any evidence that says that is necessary for longevity. And as for you don't use it, you lose it. Well, if they're not going to be mating regularly anyways, I don't know how much they lose it. I am going to be seeing if some 2-year-old virgin female panther chameleons will have any interest in breeding. So we'll see. We'll see. Longer lifespan, pipes cleaning out, so it does. I mean, it's for the chameleon to live its holistic life as it was designed to, it would be good for them to breed. But that said, I don't know how important it is, or if it's just So it's a micro benefit maybe. But the real answer is we don't know. We don't know. But I haven't noticed any problem with males that don't breed outside of sometimes getting antsy. So, all right, everyone. Mikey says, good night, everyone. See you tomorrow night for Mischief with the Reptile Show Reporter. Oh, yes, I will be there with the Reptile Show Reporter and with Sean McNeely, just and hanging out. I don't know what we're going to be talking about, and I will talk about something different than what we're talking about. Sorry for the silly. No, I like these silly questions. They're kind of fun because it's these kind of things that get us thinking. And thinking is the way that we learn things. So I question everything. I question everything, and sometimes it doesn't lead me anywhere, but oftentimes it leads me to figuring out things that I never knew I needed to know. So, all right, everybody, we are coming to the end here. Are there any last final questions for the Instagram audience? When you go on YouTube to fully have your chameleon experience, I've had to change my my channel. I've had to break out the live sessions. So I've created a separate YouTube channel called Chameleon Academy Live. And so if you go on YouTube, find that other channel and subscribe there. And that way you can join us in the Saturdays. And when we have the year-end parties and such, you can be part of that. And if you are having trouble finding it, you just go to the main channel, Chameleon Academy, and it's one of the accounts listed on the profile page, and so that can be an easy link to go out. So, oh, I got a couple more questions here, and I'm not in the mood to leave right now, so I'll go ahead and answer questions just a little bit more, and then I got to go make dinner. I got to make dinner for my gecko queen, who is working on taking care of Fantastica's geckos. James 3 is asking, how thick is your average foggy night in Madagascar? Are we talking about pea soup fog levels of fog? It's different all across Madagascar, but I will tell you in Ranamafana, it gets real thick. real thick. And to the point where you can't use a flash photography because you just get this whiteout. So it can get pretty thick. But in Rana-Mafana, it was very thick. Elsewhere, it wasn't that thick. So I think it's just like normal. Some days are foggy, some days aren't. But it can get thick. Yeah. Thank you, Wayne Abides. Smash the like. That's right. I was wondering if I should stud him out so he stays happy and healthy. At this point, Lisa, I don't think that that's necessary. I think that the hardship that comes from babies is way more than the benefit of him being able to breed. So there's nothing that says you can't or shouldn't stud him out, but don't do it because you feel like he has to do it for health. There's no evidence to suggest that is important enough to look for a studding him out. But somebody has a female and wants the genetics, then 2 thumbs up. All right, everybody, it's come to the end of the night. Thank you very much for making these Tuesday nights a fun place to be. Love my Chameleon community, and love having you all here and having fun on Tuesday. So take care of each other and be excellent to each other. See you later. Figure out.